Okay, am I live? Whoa, I am live. I can't believe it. Hi, everybody. Sorry for the delay. This is a surprise to me that I'm up and running. But thank you for joining Political Talk with Charlotte. I do appreciate you guys. I really, really do. Anyway, um, I am your host, Charlotte Bergman, coming to you from the great state of Tennessee. I am a conservative voice for Christian values. And this show is one I found fascinating. So I want you to sit back. And even though it's late, we're 44 minutes late, go get your popcorn and your Kool-Aid. And, on this time of day, maybe wiser to just stick with Kool-Aid instead of the strong stuff. So sit back and enjoy this show. This show is going to be great. I can't help but laughing. I've been laughing ever since I saw what was going on Saturday. Over 7 million people joined the No Kings protest. Over 7 million. And what were they doing? They were protesting against President Trump's policies across the United States and abroad, including Canada. So on Saturday, those 7 million people occupied many cities throughout the United States. They even occupied a street here in Memphis, Tennessee. And initially, there were 5,000 that were expected to join the protest. Actually, I call it a clown show because it really was. And I will tell you why a little bit later, why I called it that. These were radicals, and they participated in over 2,700 No King rallies or clown shows in pretty much the majority of the 50 states of the United States and cities like Toronto, Canada. They were what does Toronto have to do with what's going on in the United States? They can't even get their own business straight. Okay, so they were indeed protesting President Donald Trump's immigration crackdown, voter suppression, criminal illegal alien roundup, and they particularly wanted to stick their finger in the eyes of ICE. They were also protesting tax breaks for the wealthy. I tell you what, I got a tax break. I am not wealthy, and I know a number of people that received a tax break. So these Democrats, and especially their peons that are going around repeating what the liberal Democrats are telling them to do, they need to start reading and finding out what's going on. The crowds that occurred, even though in some cities, the crowds were large cities, but overall, that clown show was an embarrassment. Even Kamala Harris probably is thinking, wow, I got 75,000 votes, and we only had 75 million votes, and we only had 7 million to come out. Where are my people? Bernie Sanders had a good day. He spoke in Washington, D.C. He was highlighting the opposition to authoritative means and oligarchy. They even had a child now stabbing a Trump effigy. And a child. They're just preparing that child to spend the rest of his life in jail if he attempts to assassinate a high official. By the time that child grows up, Trump won't be in office, but somebody will be there. And that child will have that mindset. That was abuse to that child. And who was sponsoring the clown show? None other than George Soros and his team of minions. First, they said no kings had First, they said that the No Kings clown show had over 7 million protests nationwide. Then MSNBC was caught using a fake video from 2017 in Boston, trying to prove that there were a lot of people that were out, which that was fake. So after that, the official stats came out and said it was about 2 to 3 million. 2 to 3 million. That's even worse. So let's just say it was 2.5 million. The No Kings website itself said that there were 2,700 protest locations. So let's estimate that if they weren't consolidated in one or two major cities, but they were spread out everywhere, you could say that there were only 927 protesters per location. Guys, that's hardly a historic turnout. But that's not stopping their marketing team from going out and saying, oh, it was our best showing. People were out and they're mad and they want the United States to know that they do not like what President Trump is doing. That's marketing for you. Now, as I reflect back, and many of you did too, what did we see? Well, we saw baby boomers. These are people that are occupying nursing homes now. And they are the leftovers from the hippies and all of those crazy events that occurred in the 60s. There were also liberal whites out. So you have your gray-haired baby boomers, you had your liberal whites, then you had your transgender. They were out there in droves. Your LGBTQ plus people, illegal alien sympathizers, Antifa, socialists, other drug-induced anti-Judeo-Christian groups. And all of them was obsessed with Donald John Trump. Send me your messages, everybody. I'd like to hear what you think about what I'm saying. And then after all of that, guys, after all of that, I shake my head because President Trump is still the president. And those No King, I'm going to say protesters, but I'm going to also call them clowns. Maybe in all of their efforts, they probably managed to keep King Charles away. Guys, maybe they don't know that not since King George III have we had an American, a person, because he was not an American, but America land was run by a king. That was King George III, 1776. Guys, we have a republic, and here's what I want to tell these people who are dumb enough to think that their efforts standing out on the streets would have changed things. We have an executive branch, which consists of the presidency. We have the Supreme Court, and we have Congress, and all of these groups, all of these branches perform checks and balances to prevent a king from taking over the United States of America. But those of you who were standing out on the streets, but especially for those who were paid to protest, I found it was really funny. Now, most of them stayed out until about 3 o'clock. Was that when the money ran out? Or was that to give them time to get back to the nursing home so that they could participate in bingo or dinner? Yeah, that's what it was. They didn't stay out late. Now, there were some cities like Portland and Chicago. They protested even longer. But the majority of these protests ended around 3 o'clock, which was a good time for them. Okay, I see we have some messages. So let me finish what I'm saying. You can rest assured that the big protest, there's going to be a big protest, and it's going to occur somewhere around spring of summer before the midterm election in 2026. I want you guys to know that and be prepared. Now, I can say if there is no violence, they deserve to protest. But if there is violence during that time, they're going to be rounded up because our military and our people who are going to be making sure that there's no violence, they're not playing around. So let's see what some of my people said. Oh, Cindy, thank you for hanging on in there. Lee, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Um, whoa, we got a big crowd. Thank you all. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed this subject. I'm enjoying presenting it because I think it's really, really amusing. See if I can move around so that light won't show in my face. It does that during the fall. Okay. So, anyway, the next topic that I want to talk about, and I want you guys, I said this, and I want you guys to remember this. This is not the last No King's Day rally that they're going to have. I want you all to know that. But the rally that they're going to have and they're going to bring out a large number of people will be before the midterm election because this is, hi, wow, I love you more. This, thank you so much, girlfriend. This is about elections. This is about elections. They had their first No Kings rally, and then they had this second No Kings rally. And I want you all to know something. They're going to have a third No Kings rally, but that's going to be closer to the election. So are you prepared? Are you prepared to fight for our country? And my friends, my smart listeners and supporters, they're ready. And we're going to show them we are not laying down peacefully. We are going to be out there fighting for our rights. Now, the next topic that I want to talk to you guys about, and I find it so amusing. I was praying and I was saying, God, okay, what do I need to talk about? Well, I want you guys to know we are winning. President Trump do not play, and we are winning. And we're going to see those, excuse my French, we're going to see a number of traitors, rat bastards going to Gitmo to face military trials. And I will get back to that in a second. We have, we have a U.S. Attorney's Office in the District of Virginia, Leslie Halligan. She's firing them. She's getting rid of those prosecutors that don't want to do their jobs. She's getting rid of them. She is kicking butts and taking names and sending them out the door. Now, these departures mark the latest in a string of resignations and firings in the East District of Virginia. And let me show you this lady because I love her. I think she is terrific. Look at that. Is that attitude? That is attitude. She's saying, don't play with me. Okay. I'm not playing with you. And if you don't do the job, you're out the door. And I love it. So President Trump's interim U.S. Attorney, Leslie Halligan, has fired senior prosecutors from the Eastern District of Virginia. And guys, we keep sending letters to President Trump telling him, hey, don't forget about Memphis. He's going to take care of these lazy attorney generals here. So they had Beth Busey, and Christian Bird. They're no longer with the office as of Friday. Busey had been with the Department of Justice for over 2000 since 2007. And one source said that Halligan believed the attorneys were leaking unauthorized information to the press. That is trouble. That's what many people are going to find out, that when they leak to the press, it's going to be discovered, it's going to be revealed, and there are going to be consequences. The other source added that they received termination letters, as they should. As they should. We cannot have leaking coming out of those offices. Now, the first Trump appointed U.S. attorney to the Eastern District of Virginia, Eric Seberg, resigned. He resigned. He resigned because he did not want to bring charges against Comey. You know, that guy that was walking along the in the sand along the shoreline, and he sees these shells that said, basically, to paraphrase, get rid of President Trump. Okay. These guys, with all of the evidence in front of them, with Comey leaking sensitive information, with Comey lying, with Comey not doing his job, these people did not want to bring him up on indictment, to bring him before a grand jury. That Maggie Cleary, the former senior Justice Department prosecutor who briefly led the EDVA, I mean, President Trump hired her, I think, had to be removed from office, according to people familiar with the matter. You see, clearly sided with career prosecutors who opposed bringing the Comey case. They did not want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, because the career prosecutors were in there telling them, hey, you with Trump? That's fine, but you do what we tell you to do. Don't touch this case. So what did she do? When they went to court, she sat in the back row. She sat in the back row, basically saying, I'm here, but I am not going to be involved with what's going on. She didn't sit at the government table. So when Halligan, the President Trump new Attorney General, came in, she presented the indictments from the grand jury before the magistrate judge. And two other career prosecutors, Michael Ben-Ari and Maya Song, were fired in the aftermath of Halligan charging Comey. They didn't want to, they wanted things to continue as is. Comey's son-in-law, Troy Edwards Jr., that big dog, resigned. All I can say to these people is, bye. Bye. You can't do your job. You don't need to get a paycheck from the citizens of the United States. So I'm excited about what's going on. And I tell you all of this to say, we are winning. And there are going to be some people that are going to go to Gitmo, and they're going to be charged. Now, the shutdown is going on, and I'll make this very quick. The shutdown is going on. The RIFS have begun. That's reduction in force. Vote has announced that the start of the mass firings occurred at the beginning of the government shutdown. And here's the kicker. There have been thousands of people who have received their termination letters. And of course, it is in court now. A liberal judge is trying to stop it, but it's just a temporary fix or a temporary stopgap, because even if they have to take it up to the Supreme Court, Article 2 gives a responsibility for hiring people in the deep state, in the government, gives that responsibility to the president to retain or to get rid of them. They're going to be gone. You better believe it. And from what I heard last night, it seems like there are two more Democrats that are coming on board to vote to end the shutdown. They did this after the No Kings clown show. Okay. Now, what's going to happen is 60 days, actually 61 days after the government shutdown, which started October the 1st, if the shutdown exceeds 61 days, Vote can go in there and clean up all of the deep state, all of the programs and the people who are working and working in those departments that are going to be cleared. They can get rid of them just like that. Yeah. On day 61, they're going to receive a layoff notice if the government does not open up before the 60 days are up. I, that's going to take care of a lot of problems because if we get rid of the dead weight in President Trump, Rust vote, they're not going to get rid of the people whose jobs are essential to the government. They're just going to get rid of those new departments that have been brought on by the Biden administration to push DEI efforts, to push things like teaching children how to not accept the fact that God made them male and female and things of that nature. That's why you had the No King Clown Show, because they want to hold on to this mess that's bringing our country down. We are a Judeo-Christian nation, and there are principles that we stand by. And those people that are fighting against us don't stand by those principles. So I can't wait. Let this shutdown continue. If the shutdown lasts until November, I think December the 1st, Democrats will no longer be needed. And justice is going to return. So I say to you, I say to one, I say to all, we're winning. We are winning. And even though you can't see the winning now, it's coming. It's going to be here. So be ready to celebrate. Thank you for joining me, even in the midst of all of the technical problems. I did this show. And if you miss any portions of the show, just go ahead and click on the link for the show, and you can see it from the beginning. And I apologize about the delay. I don't want to think that they didn't like my title. I don't want to think that now. I'm not like that. I'm not trivial like that. So anyway, they are the technical people are checking with me now to see if the show is working. I love you guys. I thank you all for joining me. And hopefully this show will trend in Facebook and more people will hear it and see it. All right, you guys take care, and hopefully I'll have a show on Thursday. I love you guys. I'm amazed at the number of people who have commented on the show. I thank you all. God bless you all. Go get them, Lindsley. Yes, yes. Get them, girl. Get them. All right. Thank you all. I'll talk to you all soon. Probably sooner rather than later. I'm excited about what's going on, and I may have a show as often as possible because there are so many exciting things that are happening in our nation, and many people don't get a chance to hear about what's going on because I heard some people comment about, oh, how great it was to be out and exercising your constitutional rights to say something. Well, you exercise your constitutional right to stand on principle when that principle is sound and it correlates with what you believe in, not because there are some people in the street waving crazy signs and acting crazy because they have a need to turn our country away from its Judeo-Christian principles. And I'm going to fight for those principles. And I am your voice. I am your voice. If you can't get the news from the local mainstream media, come to me, Charlotte Bergman. This is Charlotte Bergman signing off with Political Talk with Charlotte. I appreciate you, and I thank you for your support, because this show wouldn't be anything without you guys being here with me. You guys take care. I love you. Bye.